Hi, this is Emily the Audi Nerd. Tonight we're going to be taking a look at the all-new A3. This one we have here is a 2023 model in the all-new color, Atoll Blue. Let's take a look. The A3 is still offered in front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive. However, for the first time ever, the power output is the same on the front-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive. Fun note is that the front-wheel drive A3 is the only front-wheel drive offering available here in the United States. Both the front-wheel drive and the all-wheel drive have 201 horsepower with 221 foot-pound of torque. The all-wheel drive goes from 0 to 60 in 6.3 seconds, and the front-wheel drive goes to 0 to 60 in 6.6 seconds. They both have a top speed of 130 miles an hour. They are both powered by a 4-cylinder turbocharged 2-liter engine. You'll see it right here, and everything all along on the inside is not entirely different from the previous generation. This is now the 4th generation of the EA888 engine, and it just keeps getting better and better. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, the A3 got a complete redesign. It is nearly 2 inches bigger in every single direction. First, we're going to talk about the exterior and all the changes there. So the A3 is nearly 2 whole inches wider, and that does not just mean the exterior on the front, it's the entire grille too. The single frame grille got a lot wider, and you'll see the honeycomb design all the way along. This one in particular has the black optics package, but something that I think is actually kind of cool, and everyone says, oh, the A3 is so small. If I stick my arms out, that grille is nearly the entire front of the car. So as you can see, it gives it that really cool, sporty, aggressive look. I know the first time we saw these headlights was on the video I did with my old RS3 and the new RS3, but as you can see, they have the same design. However, it doesn't have the animation down here because it is not the RS vehicle. They do come standard with LED headlights, but when you go up to the Premium Plus, like this one, you'll get the DRL signature, which is this all the way along the bottom and all the way along the top. You can see these are the DRLs. There is also the option for the animation for the front headlights and taillights. This one in particular does not have that option, so I'm not able to show it to you, but once I have another vehicle later that does have that option, I will certainly put that out there. Audi came out with some really awesome designs for wheels for the new A3. This one in particular has the 18-inch wheel package and black optics, so it unlocked a couple of different options. This one in particular is really fun. I like the two-tone color of it all. And then again, looking at with that Atoll Blue, you can see it in this golden hour light. It is so sparkly. It really reminds me of Galaxy Blue Metallic. When I said earlier that everything on the new A3 has been redesigned, I mean everything, including the mirrors. They did not put the old mirrors on the new car. They have been redesigned. You can see they're way more aerodynamic and smooth with the clean lines. Something to note that's kind of interesting, the previous generation had the side blinker that would go all the way along the front. It is no longer like that. It's just over here on the end. I am small. I can't stand big mirrors that are like these big obstacles in the way. These are not huge, but they're nicely sculpted so that I can still be able to see out of them with even more visibility without having them be huge blind spots. As I mentioned earlier, this vehicle in particular has the black optics package. You'll see the black trim all along up here coming up, and you can see and all the black along this, backing all the way up so you can get a full view of what it actually looks like. I think the black optics with the Atoll Blue is the perfect way to go. The new rear design is really aggressive and sporty. I love how it looks. You can see this rear taillight here is where I'm going to start. It actually has a mirrored image of the front headlight. You have 1, 2, 3, and then your line all the way across. This one has the black rings and badges. As I mentioned earlier, you can see your black A3 badge here, your black Audi rings along the top, something I'm going to point out along the bottom. So if you come down just a little bit, you'll see you have some side vents right here. However, these are not operational vents, but the cool part is they are honeycomb, so that does match the front of the grille. Coming along a little bit more, down along the rear right here, you'll notice there are no tailpipes. Tailpipes are underneath the car that point out under. But with the black optics package, they do tie in some really glossy black along the top, all along here, tying it in, making it look really nice. The all-wheel drive ones will have the Quattro badging right here along the back, and the front-wheel drive ones will have no badging right here. Something interesting is we had just done that video on the new Q4, and they won't have any Quattro badging of any kind. It'll just be plain, but the A3 stays tried and true to all the other Audi cars and will have the Quattro when it's an all-wheel drive and no badge when it's front-wheel drive. While the A3 still is the smallest of all of Audi's sedans, it does still have quite a bit of room in the trunk. You can see from this angle, there's tons of room back there. I know from personal experience you can fit a couple sets of golf clubs. Cool thing, you can lift this up. This latch right here, you'll see it's spring-loaded. This lifts up and latches right there so that if you do need to access any of your things for your spare tire or the jack and everything underneath, you do have enough room, and this stays up and out of the way. And there's this nicely placed handle so you can close it with no fingerprints. Now you may be wondering why on a gas car I'd be showing you the gas cap. However, there is something I want to point out. For the first time on the new A3, they are able to use 87 gas. You'll see it located right here in the gas cap. The nice part about that is You can take regular when you need to, but please note that you will get the absolute best performance and gas mileage when you use 91. The MPG on the new A3 is 28 in the city and 36 on the highway. It is over 2 MPG better in the city and 1 MPG better on the highway than it is from the previous generation. Now let's test out the back seat room. As we've already mentioned a couple times in the video, this is the smallest of all of Audi's sedans. You know the drill. The front seat has been adjusted for my husband, who's a little bit over 6 feet tall, and I'm 5'5 3/4. Let's test it out. Getting in the back, it definitely feels a lot bigger than it used to, and I still have ample room before my knees are going to actually be touching the seat. It is a little bit smaller here on the length in between like the edge of my leg and the seat. However, it's still pretty comfortable, and I also do have plenty of headroom. Now in the interior of the A3, the first thing I'm going to point out is there are some new colors for the interior. This one in particular is sand toast brown. You can see it has the contrasting gray stitching. It is a very rich, deep brown. And the other new interior color is parchment beige. It's a very, very light beige with a little bit of an orangey tint. So it's a little bit different from what the previous generation was, and we also didn't have an option for beige. Something else that's cool is this contrast stitching here doesn't end on the seats. If you come all the way up to the dash, you'll see this contrast X stitching up all the way along. That ties in with the door over on the door panel. The previous generation of the A3 did not have any option for rear wood. It was only aluminum trim. However, on the new A3, you'll see this aluminum trim that ties all the way along all sides, and it's got the spot for this real wood trim all the way along. The cool part is on the sport models, so like the RS3 and the S3, there's an option for the aluminum trim or carbon fiber. There's a couple of new things on the driver pane. You'll see these different ergonomic handles. I really like the feel of those where they're really easy to use. They're actually the same ones as the Q3. You'll also notice first time ever on A3s is memory seating, set 1 and set 2. Truly a crucial option in my opinion, especially because my husband and I are such different heights. The new A3 also got the new MMI setup. You'll notice this is the same one out of the Q4 e-tron and the e-tron GT. You'll notice the larger screen up here with all of your different apps and notifications. The thing I want to highlight is this phone apps. This is where you can find your Apple CarPlay. So if you go back home, and this vehicle in particular does not have the navigation package, so it will say navigation license was not purchased. You can purchase this on a function on demand basis, which is something that you can pay as a subscription. Something I do want to highlight is you can move these tiles around. So if you don't end up using the navigation ever, but you use your phone's Apple CarPlay, you can just put it right there for easy access. One of the things I hear the most about the new A3 is the new drive select setup. You notice it is a button, it is no longer a lever, so if you put your foot on the brake and you pull all the way back for drive, up for neutral, and then all the way up for reverse. And once you're ready to go back into park, you simply press the P button. Another thing that is different on this A3 versus the previous generation is the volume control. That is located right here. This one is the same as the e-tron GT and the Q4. The new A3 steering wheel is just a little bit different from the previous generation. The previous generation had the circle in the center. This one mirrors the front grille. Something else that's pretty cool about this steering wheel is it is standard with paddle shifters. You see you have your plus over on the right and your minus over on the left. This one in particular, as I mentioned earlier, is a premium plus model. So it does have some driver assistance features. Right here is where you have your cruise control stalk. Pulling forward to turn it on, pressing set on the end to engage it, and then using your distance control, which is located right here on this little button. The one thing I want to point out that is standard on the new A3 is the virtual dash. You'll see it up here. There is an option with the technology package for what's called Audi Virtual Cockpit. It is much larger and has a lot more features and usability. So this one we're not going to go into too much. You can see all of your tachometer over here, what mode you're in, and you can also see your speedometer. Beyond that, there's not as much as there is with the Virtual Cockpit. But I want to point out, if you've noticed on this interior, all of you who complained about the circle vents on the previous generation, Audi listened, they are gone. And let me tell you, I'm pretty sad. I really like those circle vents. As you've come to expect, the A3 also has the frameless auto-dimming mirror. Currently the compass is on. Press and hold on the bottom button to turn the compass off. And then again, that same operation to turn the compass back on. Moving up to the top, it does come standard with the panoramic full sunroof. You can push up to vent, pull all the way back to open. Something that is a little bit different on this generation versus the previous generation used to have the home link located right up here if you optioned it that way from the port. On these new cars, you pull down from the top right here, press this button, and that is now where your home link lives. This is a part of the Premium Plus package. The A3 still does have the touch lights, and you may not know if it is a touch light. You can touch on and press and hold and it will dim the light. So if that was more comfortable, you can have it at that. It does reset every time you turn it on. These two small guys right here, these are your interior ambient lighting. You can see how it just has a little bit right here. This is just used on the interior at all times. Moving up, you have your SOS button here to turn on all lights, to turn on lights when the door is open, roadside assistance, and your two microphones. This A3 does have the interior lighting plus package. You'll notice a little bit right now. You can see the blue lighting here and a little bit of the purple underneath here. We'll try and get a shot later in the evening so you can see it in its full light. This A3 is also equipped with Audi's Park Assist that is run by sensors all around the vehicle that can radar park you. It's a pretty easy process. There is this P button down here with the steering wheel on it, so when you're ready to do a parking maneuver, simply press that button. And you can see it's looking towards this direction, so you turn that turn signal on. And then you're in drive and you just creep forward. The closer you get to where the vehicles are that you're wanting to park in between, the better, because it'll be able to sense that a little bit easier. So we're kind of scrolling by here. It's going to pick up this spot over on this side once you go a little bit further past it. And then it says, please stop the vehicle and select reverse and take your hands off the steering wheel. There's two ways that it can park, because notice it's not a parallel spot because it's not available there. You can either pull in or you can back in. We're going to do the back in. So put it in reverse, and I'm not doing anything with the steering wheel here. The car is doing everything. So it'll go all the way back until you get real close, and then it'll tell you to put it in drive, and it'll readjust itself. And it's using all of the sensors to be able to park you exactly equally in the spot. And just like that, you're perfectly equal. It moves it back to center, put it in park, and you're good to go. Thanks for watching my video on the new Audi A3. I had a lot of fun making this for you. I really like this atoll blue. I'm really glad they brought some new colors. I love it. It's kind of a teal different color, and I love that we got to see it in tons of different lights tonight with the golden hour. If you have any other questions that I haven't answered in this vehicle, please leave them in the comments or come check one out at Audi Omaha. Thanks for watching.